Hey everybody, how's it going? B Temple back again, and today we've got something that's a little more vintage than what we've done the last few reviews. So it's only a week removed from Armistice Day, Remembrance Day, Veterans Day, whatever you want to use to call it. And I thought we'd drag out something from the collection that's a little older. So what we have here in front of us is a Royal Canadian Air Force Food Packet Survival, otherwise known as an AFFP-1 or Air Force Food Packet 1. So this is the first iteration of a Royal Canadian Air Force survival packet for pilots or any sort of air crew. This is dated 6 of 53, so that is June. Yes, June of 1953. And obviously, June of 1953, the Korean War is still ongoing at this point. So this is a vintage Korean War RCAF survival packet. Some, I don't know if this is actually carried by anyone or if this is just sort of old stock, but this is, from the Korean War era. The purpose of this ration, obviously, is if you're shot down or your plane crashes due to, mechanical failure or any sort of issue like that. You're supposed to be carrying this in your survival kit, and you're supposed to be able to live off of what's in here for 4 days. The original idea was that you don't eat any food at all for the first 24 hours, and try not to drink any water also for 24 hours. And then what's in this packet you're supposed to live off of for 4 days. Doesn't seem like there's going to be a whole lot of stuff in here that you're going to be able to live off of for 4 days, but at least something. The only other review of this particular ration that I've ever seen is from Steve 1989. The particular AFFP-1 that Steve reviewed was from January of 55, and it was slightly different from this. The text was actually written across this way as opposed to this way. So I guess his was in portrait sort of mode, and this is more of in landscape mode, I guess. So I don't know if the items in here are going to be slightly different from the one that Steve had. His was an AFFP-1, as is mine. I don't know if they made stylistic changes only during the span from 53 to 55, or maybe they might have changed some of the items inside as well. So it's not a whole lot else to say here. It seems to be in okay shape. I mean, obviously it's got some nice dings and scratches and all that kind of stuff. We still got our key, got a little dent here, but it doesn't appear to have sort of, hopefully, too much of a vacuum inside. That's probably a good sign that something's gone like horribly rancid. So I guess what we'll do is we'll snap off our key, lift up our tab, and let's open this up. Let's see if we can get a little hiss at first. No hiss at all, so I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I guess we'll find out. Yeah. We might need some pliers, I guess, or something like that to sort of haul off the rest of this. We'll be back in 1 second. So yeah, there's not really enough key, I guess, to deal with the amount of metal that we have here. But even looking along the sides here, I gotta say, I got high hopes for this being, somewhat in good shape. So let's pop the top and see what we have inside. So off the bat, the coffee inside looks completely different from the review that Steve did. His were more of like it was just more of, I guess, a generic looking coffee packet. These are actually Nescafe. And this feels like tar. That's not a good sign. That sound, yeah. I'm usually someone who doesn't drink coffee. I was going to at least try this if I could have, but this feels like it's just completely congealed and then solidified inside. So that's not a good sign. And what else do we have? We've got a little instruction sheet in here. So our CAF survival food packet. Eat no food on the first day. If water scarce, drink none. Make the food in this packet do for 4 days. So you're going to have to eat 2 packs of jelly candy, which we've got here, and 1 of our shortbread bars, and drink 1 coffee, and get 3 vitamins, which we'll go through as well. You get that each day. That's it. Yeah, that's not a whole lot to live off of. So we'll unpack some of the items first. So we've got ourselves some shortbread bars. They don't look that bad, actually. These look like they're actually in better shape than the ones that Steve had, except for the fact that they feel very soft. So that may be an issue. I don't know if they were meant to be hard originally, but there's a bit of give to them. Doesn't appear to be any sort of mold or anything like that. There's a little bit of discoloration along the bottom. That could be just fat separation. Obviously, these are shortbread bars. And then we've also got these jelly bars. They actually feel like they've got a little bit of give to them as well. Here are our packs of vitamins. And these look exactly the same as the ones that Steve had. And they look very discolored. And yeah, I'm not going to take 65-year-old vitamins. So we'll just leave those off to the side. We got 2 more of our shortbread bars. And that one's got a little bit of discoloration as well. Now, I don't know if that's just on the plastic itself. I guess we'll tell more once we finally remove the plastic, the cellophane. So there we have it all. You get 8 packs of jelly bars, 4 packs of shortbread, 4 coffees, and some vitamins. And this is all supposed to last you for 4 days, which certainly doesn't seem like a whole lot. So what we're going to do is get our tray out and give some of this a try. So here's everything laid out. It should be said, obviously, that what we're left with when you take I guess the shorter part of the tin off is this sort of shallow dish, which you obviously could boil water in, cook any sort of a food. Maybe if you're able to, I don't know, catch some small game or some fish or something like that with, you know, other parts of your survival kit. Then you could sort of cook it down at least somewhat in this tin, but I guess mostly this would probably be used for boiling water if you needed to. So let's try opening up one of our coffee packets first anyway, just to see what it does look like inside. I can't even get that open, actually. That's how welded shut all that is. You can see how that is just not going to do. We will not be drinking any coffee. Let's open up one of our shortbread bars. Now, this plastic may be a bit of a problem. Remember, this is 65 years old, so 65-year-old cellophane is not going to split apart easily. Or properly, I guess is the best way to put it. So this is incredibly crumbly. Let's give it a smell. It's got that very generic, sort of, anyone who does vintage rations, it's got that generic vintage smell to it. It feels okay. Let's give it a little taste, just the tiniest taste, because obviously if there's fat and oil and everything in there, being a shortbread cookie, there's a good chance this is probably gone rancid, but let's give it a little try. Yeah, the bottom part of my tongue is getting that kind of numbing kind of thing going on. So yeah, they're not good at all. They look fantastic. I'm surprised, actually. They look like they're in great shape. But obviously something like a shortbread bar over this amount of time, especially with the amount of fat content that's in there, that fat's obviously going to go rancid over time, especially the oils. Or if they actually use real butter, I guess. That's gonna go bad. I'm going to have to get something to wash this out of my mouth. The dangerous thing is that it doesn't actually taste bad. it tastes pretty good, actually. And that would be a problem if all of a sudden you pick this up and take a big, huge mouthful of it. Because, yeah, it's not leaving a very good sort of feeling in my mouth right now. Even my teeth, maybe that's from the fat as well. My teeth even have that weird kind of film kind of thing on them. But anyway, let's try out some of these jelly bars to see how these have fared. They actually seem like they're pretty good. You can just barely discern the fact that there's 4 different colors. Sometimes these 2 colors here look pretty similar, and sometimes these 2 colors come out pretty similar. But you can tell pretty easily that this is supposed to be, I assume, cherry, lemon, orange, and then lime. So let's open up a pack of these and try them out. These opened a lot easier than I anticipated, and with the cellophane off, it's even better. You can really tell that these are 4 distinct colors and flavors. Let's try the cherry one first. Cherry's probably my least favorite artificial flavor out of anything that's, you know, candy related. You can see this is just straight up, you know, coarse sugar on a piece of jelly candy. So yeah, let's give this a try. That's fantastic. Unlike modern candy, the artificial cherry flavor for this is very mild, very subtle. It doesn't have that weird sort of, you know, I guess cherry Kool-Aid kind of flavor to it. This is actually fantastic. It's perfectly nice and chewy. The sugar on the outside's got a nice crunch to it. Who would have guessed that 65-year-old candy should still be pretty good? Obviously, for a survival ration like this, what you're going to be getting is mostly carbohydrates and a little bit of fat, obviously, from the shortbread. But, well, we're not going to be eating any more of the shortbread. This would just be sort of a simple carbohydrate, and you're only going to get 2 packs and a shortbread and a coffee and some vitamins for an entire day. So maybe they assume that, you know, early in the day you have your shortbread, and then you sort of pick at the other 2 packs of jelly bars throughout the day kind of thing. You know, try to break it down into at least some sort of semblance of meals, perhaps. I don't know. But this will at least keep you alive. You're certainly not going to feel full or satiated, but this will keep you alive. Now, the color's kind of dulled on this one. This is supposed to be lemon. Let's get the lemon we'll try next. And that's just got a lovely lemon flavor. Really does. You know, it's funny eating something like this. It kind of gives you like sort of nostalgic feeling for, you know, maybe if you're at your grandparents' house and they've got some sort of, you know, candy laying about in a dish or something like that. It's got that sort of, you know, Nan's house kind of jelly candy kind of feeling to it, which is kind of pleasant. It's nice and, you know, nice and nostalgic. Obviously, the candy in Nan's dish probably is not going to be 65 years old, but it's pretty good. I'm going to save the orange one for last because orange is usually my favorite flavor. Give the lime one a try next. I mean, obviously, it's dull a little bit over time. These obviously would have been, I think, a bit more vibrant of a color back when they were first made, you know, during the Korean War. But, you know, they still look pretty good, I must say, for something that's 65 years old. Wow. The lime flavor in this is better than any modern lime-flavored candy I think I've ever had. This is amazing. And lastly, let's go to this one, which is what I assume to be orange. But we'll find out momentarily. Oddly enough, the orange one's the only one that didn't taste great, actually. And it crumbled a little bit. So maybe the composition of the orange is something in it. Obviously, I assume the only difference, obviously, would be food coloring and flavoring. Everything else would be the same. But the orange one actually was the least pleasant out of any of them, which is surprising. Orange is usually the flavor I enjoy most when it comes to candy. So yeah, guys, that's our jelly bar. That's our shortbread. These are our coffees, and these, much like the other ones, you know, they bend and make shapes. So that's not a good sign at all. There's no way that any of those are salvageable. There's not a whole lot left. It's not like you guys need to listen to me eat 7 more packs of jelly bars. I will actually keep these and, you know, probably put them in a Ziploc bag or something or whatever, because I'm thinking these have been sitting in that tin now for 65 years. These are now sort of exposed to the outside air. They probably will begin to degrade somewhat quickly. They'll probably dry out fairly quickly, but the flavors are still remaining. I'm curious perhaps to see if one of the oranges in one of the other packs actually tastes a little better. But if I had to rate them on a scale, I'd probably put, you know, lime, and then lemon, then cherry, then orange as the, I guess, the best way to eat them. Yeah, that shortbread bar, that's gone horribly rancid. I'm not going to try any other ones. I don't need to make myself sick. It's almost immediately rancid. That's the best way to put it. You only had to chew it for a couple seconds. Thankfully, I didn't swallow it. But yeah, that did not leave a good sensation. So guys, this has been a Food Packet Survival Royal Canadian Air Force Food Packet number 1. So once again, the first iteration of a Royal Canadian Air Force, you know, food packet from 653, so June of 1953. So this is from the Korean War. I'd like to thank you all for stopping by and watching this review. I think what I may do next, actually, is a similar ration to this, but a American version from the Korean War era as well. So that would be the American ST or SA, but I believe the two that I do have are SAs. So we're either going to do an SA2 or an SA3 for my next review, and see how they sort of stack up against the Canadian version. I believe the SA3 is the one that's closest in age to this. It's maybe only like a year in difference. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how different a Air Force survival kit, you know, food pack would be for the Americans or for the Canadians, obviously, who were fighting side by side during the Korean War. So guys, once again, I'd like to thank you all for stopping by, and have a good one.